Some of the coolest things about Rio, coolest attractions I guess, are the Cristo Redentor statue. When I was there, all the missionaries got to go on their last day of the mission, so that was really neat. There's also a huge market called the Uruguayana, and you can buy any souvenirs, anything you need there for really cheap, so that's also really nice. They have beautiful beaches that we can't go to as missionaries, but I don't know, there's lots of nice places there for sure. It's really hot there and really humid. I mean, in summers it'll get up to 120s easy, and it's got about 80% humidity, so it's pretty rough. The winter's a little bit cooler, probably in the 90s. Like living conditions, like the sisters definitely have better houses than the elders, but you know, we have water, electricity, beds, all necessities, I guess. There's a big distinction between rich and poor in Rio. I think in lots of parts of Brazil, you have a clear division. Like there's the rich people and they live in the big, condos, big apartment buildings, and then you have the poor people. The poorest people live in what are called favelas, which are kind of like slum areas. It's really humbling to see the conditions that people live in there. They have these tiny little brick shacks, or not even brick sometimes, made out of wood, and you'll have like 10 people living in a room the size of one of our living rooms or something, like dirt floor. But they're happy people. I mean, as long as they have food to eat, water to drink, and roof over their heads, they're completely happy. And I mean, you mentioned crime as well. There's quite a bit of crime down there. There's lots of drug trafficking, especially in these favelas. And the government of Rio is constantly at war with the drug traffickers. So you have to be smart about what areas you go into, and usually the bishop or members will advise you. But I mean, what I noticed, I never felt threatened a whole lot, because even the people selling drugs that had guns and stuff, they really respected the missionaries, because they're all religious, like I said. And you could ask them for directions if you needed to, and they'd be totally happy to show you where you need to go. And so it wasn't too bad. But that's what people do. I mean, they have all sorts of jobs down there. A common job is a stone worker, to translate it, that like make houses and other buildings that are necessary. And then you have like the richer people that usually work in like companies and different things. As for transportation, as missionaries, we always use public transportation. There are trains there, buses. There's a system called the BRT, which is kind of like one of those buses with the accordion thing in the middle, and they have their own lane, so they only have to stop at like traffic lights, so that gets you around pretty quick. And for the Olympics, they're expanding that across most of Rio, so that's actually really nice. But yeah, you get crammed in pretty well. You don't usually need to hold on to anything because there's people so close around you. The 2016 Olympics will be in Rio, which is pretty awesome. That'll be fun. Yeah, I was there during the World Cup, and that was really crazy. Brazilians are just nuts about soccer, so it got pretty wild. But as for different areas of the mission, there's a place called the Baixada. It's like just, I guess, northwest a little bit of the center, and that's the hottest area of the mission. And then the farthest west area, that's where I started out. It's really beautiful out there, and on the farthest east part. So I guess if you're on the borders, it's a lot prettier, and the weather's a lot nicer. And there's a big bridge in the middle called Ponte de Niterói. It's one of the longest bridges in the world, and that kind of separates the center of Rio from about half of the state and the mission. I never served over on that side, but I heard it's really nice over there. The money system down there is reais, real. And at the moment, it's about 3 reais is $1. Their economy is kind of on the down right now, but the cost of living, like a moderate, decent apartment, would be in the 1,500 to 2,000 reais range, which is quite a bit because minimum wage down there is a lot less than that. Like buses, if it's just a normal bus, it's probably about around 3 reais. Food, and depending on what you're buying, but it's not too bad. Like a loaf of bread is about 3 reais. Like milk is about 3 or 4 reais. So, and when I was down there, we would get about 120 reais every 15 days. Divide it in like the month and a half, I guess. And as long as you're not like spending a ton on extra food and everything, like it's totally fine. You can save up money for other stuff. My first area, Parque Mamakabe, also included a place called Parachi, which is right on the border of Rio and Sao Paulo. And now it's its own area. They opened a group there. But it's like a historical town, I guess. It's where they they have a bunch of old cannons and stuff, and they fended off attacking countries, I guess, from that spot. And it's really neat place if you ever serve out there. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Venice because there are streets, but there's also a lot of canals with bridges over them. The boats can just pass right on through all over, and it's really beautiful out there. So it's kind of a neat historical spot.